Let's turn to politics now, and the pieces are slowly falling into place for the 2016 presidential race. More candidates are soon expected to announce their own plans after Texas Republican Ted Cruz became the first to officially toss his hat into the ring.
Today, I am announcing that I'm running for president of the United States.
And there it was. Ted Cruz joins us now along with his wife, Heidi. Good morning to both of you.
Good morning, Matt.
Senator, Mrs. Cruz, you ready for this? Are you ready for what's now about to happen in your lives and the attention you're going to get? You're getting some of them in the newspapers already this morning, both good and bad.
Well, I hope so. We're certainly ready for going forward and doing everything we can to turn the country around.
Mrs. Cruz, you're not someone who seeks the spotlight. You don't do interviews. You don't speak out about politics. I'm happy you've decided to do this interview. Are you ready for the personal scrutiny that this is going to bring to your life and in some ways already has?
Yeah. Well, sure, Matt. I think anytime you embark upon something that's so much bigger than yourself and than your own family, I don't know that you ever feel fully prepared. But we have a very strong marriage, an incredibly strong family, and are guided by our faith. And I think we are ready to see change in this country, and we're honored to have a voice in that.
Senator, you're a guy who's known for taking on your own party. I think at one point you called some Republicans, mainstream Republicans, squishes for their stance on certain issues. You've also led your party into some fights that backfired. The defunding of Obamacare comes to mind. So you have detractors, not only across the aisle, but within your own party. How can you win the nomination unless you build a much broader coalition than the one you already have?
Listen, I think you're exactly right that we need to build a broad coalition. We need to bring together the old Reagan coalition of conservatives and evangelicals and libertarians and Republican women and young people and Hispanics and Reagan Democrats. You got to bring everyone together. And one of the things that's striking, Matt, I think all across this country, people are hurting. They recognize the path we're on. It isn't working. And they're looking for a change. They're looking to get back to the principles that made America strong in the first place.
So on the subject of a broad coalition, is there room in Ted Cruz's Republican Party for those who are socially liberal, for those who are pro-choice, for those who support gay marriage?
Oh, look, absolutely. We welcome a broad tent and a broad coalition. Now, what I'm trying to do is stand for principle. And the two things that I've tried to do more than anything else in my time in the Senate have been, number one, tell the truth, and number two, do what I said I would do. And the interesting thing on that is I think people can respect that, even if they don't necessarily agree on everything.
But you know your reputation. In your short time in the Senate, you've developed a reputation as a guy who does not back down, who will not compromise. I think you even referred to yourself recently. You said, I'm kind of like the disruptive app in politics. Will you bring that brand of no compromise to the White House if you're elected?
Well, Matt, let me disagree with the premise. I've never said I won't compromise. And in fact, from day one, when I was elected, I said my attitude on compromise is exactly the same as Ronald Reagan. Reagan said, what do you do if they offer you half a loaf? Answer, you take it. And then you come back for more.
Shortly after you elected, you also said, quote, I don't think what Washington needs is more compromise.
Because what Washington does often is it compromises going backwards. I'm perfectly happy to work with anyone, Democrat, Independent, Libertarian, Republican, if they're shrinking the size and power of the federal government, if they're turning around the debt, if they're expanding liberty. What Washington does, though, is you have compromises like the so-called Cromnibus bill that passed in December. It was $1 trillion spending bill, paid off corporate welfare, paid off every special interest in Washington, and simply grew government. That's not a good compromise because it's not fixing the problems in this country.
Quickly for you, Mrs. Cruz, I mean, you've heard some of the adjectives used to describe your husband. If you haven't seen them, you can read them in the paper this morning. Is the public perception of this man inaccurate?
Ted Cruz is someone who tells the truth. He knows what he believes. It was one of the things that really drew me to him, is this is a person of conviction. And I think the American people want to know what they're getting.
A couple of weeks ago, you were at an event in New Hampshire, and you were using your rhetoric, and you said, the world is on fire. And there was a 3-year-old girl right up front, and she looked and took it very literally and said, the world's on fire? And you pivoted very quickly. Is he that agile with your 2 children at home?
Oh, he's very agile. Our 6-year-old who pleaded with him in one of his speeches that she's almost 7. Please tell them I'm almost 7. she came home from school the other day and said to her father that a lot of the kids at school were talking about her dad and not about her. And Ted said, "Wow," he said, "the same is true for me." He said, "I spend my day talking about you." He's very, very agile. It made her very proud.
Well, you're off and running, and we appreciate you both stopping by the studio this morning. Thank you very much, Senator.
Well, thank you, Matt. It is breathtaking, and it's encouraging. I'll tell you, the energy and the exhilaration there yesterday, and we're seeing on the trail, takes your breath away.
Good luck to you both.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mrs.
Thank you.
Cruz, thank you very much.